Welcome back to Casting Confidential for our third season. I'm your host, Rosen, and we've got such an exciting season ahead for you, filled with amazing guests, from top celebrities to some of the best casting directors in the business. Plus, we have a special surprise waiting for you at the end of each episode, so make sure you listen all the way through. I know you're gonna love it. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors who make this show possible: Casting Networks and Write Positive Films. Their support helps us bring you the very best of the casting world every week. Looking to land your next big role? Casting Networks is where more high-quality roles are booked than any other casting service. With an annual membership, you'll unlock every tool you need to stand out. Unlimited headshots and reels, submission tracking, even the chance to link your socials and showcase your personal brand. On the go, the Casting Network's iOS app makes it easy to find and submit to roles anytime, anywhere. Right now, Casting Confidential listeners get $65 off an annual membership. Just use code CONFIDENTIAL at checkout or try it free for 14 days. Head to castingnetworks.com/confidential and get ready to get noticed. But hurry, this offer won't last long. I want to tell you about something that's truly changing the game for working actors. Shamika Wright, yes, a working actress and filmmaker with over 20 years of experience, is now offering exclusive one-on-one coaching through Write Positive Films. And let me tell you, this isn't your average actor coaching. This is real-world audition to booking strategy, personal to you, and led by someone who actually gets what it takes. If you're getting callbacks but not bookings, or you're ready to own your next role, this is your next right move. Head to writepositive.com/book-online. That's WRIGHT positive.com/book-online and get ready to strengthen your acting skills in an authentic, empowering, and intentional way today. You'll thank yourself later, and maybe me too. Hey, actors, need a reader but don't have anyone around, or maybe your friend's on the way and you want to get a head start and run it a few times on your own? Check out RAFY, the app that scans your sides, lets you pick from over 60 voices to read with, and has an optional teleprompter built right in. It works in multiple languages, and there's a web version too if you prefer using your computer. Whether you're rehearsing, memorizing, or recording a self-tape, RAFY gives you the flexibility to do it all on your own time. Try it now at rafy.app. That's RAFY.app. And check the show notes for a 10% discount code. You'll thank me later. And with that, let's jump right into today's show.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Casting Confidential, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on the casting process and gives you the stories you don't hear in the audition room. I'm your host, Rosen, and today I'm so excited. We have an absolute superstar with us today, the hilarious, the brilliant, the I'm coming for your timeline queen, Danielle Pinnock.
Hey!
Yay! I'm so excited about this. You
I'm
know her
thrilled
as
to be
Alberta
here.
on CBS's hit show Ghost, but she's also a viral comedy machine, a size fashion icon, and a Taurus through and through. I'm also joined today by my fabulous co-host, casting director Robin Carus, who's here to drop casting gems and help us with our Casting Confidential feedback session later in the show. Stick around for that. We've got a guest actor joining us live for some real-time feedback. But first, Danielle, let's get into it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is the greatest. This is the greatest. Okay, I want to start at the beginning. You've actually been on both sides of the casting table.
Yes.
We were just talking about that. What did you learn working at Cindy Tolan Casting and the Goodman Theater that still shapes your approach to acting and being in the audition space today?
The biggest thing that I learned is not to take anything personally. I think before I worked in casting, I had no clue how the machine was made. And then being in casting and knowing that it completely is out of the actor's hands, all they can do is just be prepared and come in with just a really beautiful slice of life, knowing that character through and through and whatever their rendition is. That's all I can control. And so it was the best way to learn that because I think now as an actor, I have so much fun in my auditions just doing what I want to do. And if it is too much, they'll tell me, they say, hey, let her tape again. But I've had a blast. It's been really great. And I loved working in casting. It was excellent.
I'm
Oh,
curious
I love that. Go ahead.
because you studied at the Royal Conservatoire, and
Yes.
so I'm very curious if I guess did you kind of know at that point, like, maybe casting, maybe I will be a multi-hyphenate, who knows? And also, because I feel like there's this theater girl in you,
Yeah.
yet, obviously you've also had all of this fantastic success on camera, and I'm very curious how that kind of like makes and shapes your career and all of that. So I'm
Yeah, absolutely. So, I went to undergrad at Temple University, and that's where I was actually interning for Cindy Tolan. And we worked on Avenue Q together and Xanadu and a couple of independent films. And while I was working with Cindy, I was also doing plays at Temple University. So I had this play that I was in called In Conflict that actually ended up going off Broadway. They pulled us out of school for a year. And coming from a Jamaican family and being the first in my family born in the States, the career goals would be to be an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, and being an actor is very far down on that list.
I
And
get that.
when I was at Temple, I had a backup as a political science major, and my aunt Patrice Johnson Siobhan, who is an incredible actress on Broadway and a legend in the New York theater scene, she said, "Listen, your backup doesn't necessarily need to be in law. It could also be in something within the industry." And so she was like, "I want you to learn about the casting process." And she was the one that actually got me the internship at Cindy Tolan Casting, and I loved it. I have to tell you, if I wasn't an actor, I would either be working in casting or I'd be a manager or I'd be a drama teacher because I love advocating for other artists. It is just a passion of mine. And I loved getting to see the nuances in people's auditions and how they interpreted scenes. And it really changed my life as an artist and opened me up in the way that, when you're in drama school, you get your August Wilson monologue at 19 years old. That's way too old for you. Like, why am I doing all these older characters? But you're doing it for the practice. But there were things that my drama teachers could not teach me that I learned in casting, and also just like the professionalism of being on time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not wearing too much makeup, not wearing too much perfume as
Oh
well
my
too.
God, so huge,
How to
right?
do a cover letter, because those were before the times of Chat GPT, like how to write a cover letter and get solid headshots, and not get headshots that were taken in somebody's backyard, some cousin's backyard with a camera, like these are the top people and this is what you should do. And so it taught me a protocol that was so necessary for me to get ahead as an artist, and it helped me with the business of acting as well too.
I mean, that's huge, and that's what we teach our listeners all day long.
Yeah.
Literally why we do this podcast. So I am so glad you said that. So Danielle, you also hosted the 2022 Artios Awards. Thank you
Yes.
so much. What was that for you?
It was a dream realized because that was my first time ever hosting. And as you know, it was in the middle of the pandemic. And
Yeah.
it is my dream. Whoopi Goldberg is literally one of my, North stars in the industry. Like, I'm just obsessed with her. I love her career. I'm such a huge fan of hers. And I know as a host, she is truly, I mean, the best of the best. And so I was like, okay, if this is what Whoopi's done, I need to get into hosting as well, too. And so I had a blast. And also as a multi hyphenate, it was great because I was writing material and we were brainstorming with the casting association. Like it was everything. And I had a blast. And I would love to come back and do it again now that we're, post pandemic. It'd be so great.
I, we can put in a good word for you.
Mm. That would be awesome. Yeah, I had a blast and it was so great to hear, when some of my favorite casting directors saying, "Oh my gosh, this was so fun and congratulations on Ghosts." And so yeah, it was a huge honor. I really was grateful for it.
I mean, it's so interesting from our side. Like we wonder, do you really like doing it? Or are you just doing it as, like it's like so refreshing to hear that you enjoyed it.
No, I did, and I think, to your question earlier about being a multi-hyphenate, I was told very early on in undergrad when I was at Temple University that you can only be good at one thing, and I just did not believe that.
Good
I
for
j
you.
and when I was at Temple, like, yes, I was acting, but my degree was in directing. And so
Oh,
I was
funny.
directing, I was also acting in shows, I was producing, the small scenes and things like that. And I just knew that I had an appetite for so much more in this industry, and why not? And thank goodness for creators like Issa Rae, and Quinta
Mhm.
Brunson, and a lot of these women I went to school with, Davine Joy Randolph, who was at Temple as well too, where I could see the
I'm
path that they were
obsessed.
making for artists like me. And so it is definitely possible to be a multi hyphenate, and I just think that there's just the also what I will say is that the triple threat is has now changed. It used to be singing, dancing, acting, and now we need to add, content creation to that as
Yes.
well too. And so yeah, it's been really great getting to explore all the different facets of the artistry.
I mean, I'm crazy about your industry Instagram. We're gonna talk about that later. Let's do a little deep dive on Ghost. You came in as a replacement actor, which is
Yeah.
always crazy. I always go back to the Darrens on Bewitched, but
Yeah.
tell me, like, how did it come to be? How'd you navigate that roller coaster? And then, how's it going? How's it going so far?
Well,
Tell
first of
me
all,
everything.
we got picked up for season 5 and 6, which I'm so
Fantastic.
grateful for, and it's so unheard of during these times in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
And to have that job security and the opportunity to take care of my family means the world to me. And so grateful to CBS and Paramount and Lionsgate and BBC and all of our fans that make this show happen, and our cast and our crew and our writers, because we are working so hard. And I do believe at some point the Emmy nomination will come. Who knows if it's this year
Yes.
or next year, but we got 2 years.
Hey,
Fingers crossed for it. But
we
what
hope
I
so.
will say about Ghosts, it was life changing. I got the audition in the middle of the pandemic at a time where we didn't even have vaccines yet. And so I didn't even know if we were back to acting or not. And so my manager sent me the audition and my agent, and they said, look, it's a really cool project. There was a UK version of it. And that was the first thing that I did, is just watch the entire season of the UK version, and I fell in love
Smart.
with it. This was I knew that because it would be based in the United States, it wouldn't be as dark. But I was like, I still want to kind of understand what the world of this show is, and some tone things as well too. And so
Sure.
when I auditioned, I was like, I'm just gonna go full out. And I normally probably wouldn't do that if we were in person. Normally, I would just wear something that just suggests the character, whether it's like a
Okay.
little shawl or something. But I was like, I have this sparkly dress in my closet, and I got a shawl, and I had this hat that I did
You did
pretty much
it.
major barber in. I was like, I'm going full out. And
Oh
so
my God.
I had fun, and it was a comedy. And I'd worked on CBS for 4 years prior in Young Sheldon. And so I said,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to send one take as scripted, and I will do another take and add some improvised buttons at the end, just in
Oh,
case.
yeah. That's what you learned on the behind the casting table.
Yes. Yes. And I think it was Liz Barnes that was like, she emailed us, my team, and said her improvisations were so funny, and let her just do what she wants to do in the callback. And so I
Wow.
said, okay, fantastic. And so I went into the callback with the producers, and I did a scene as is, and then I added my improvs, and they were like, great, we thought you did amazing. We'll let you know in a little bit. And so okay, I was like, great. My manager that night got an email from them saying, "Hey, we actually would like to call her back, but can she remove the hat?" It was a little distracting. And I was like,
Okay.
"Oh my gosh, I have lost the role of a lifetime because of this major barber hat that I got at the thrift store in Chicago." But I was like, "I will be there and I will be hatless."
No
And
hat.
I was so nervous when I did my screen test that on my second set of sides, I fumbled the last 2 lines of the scene. And at the end, they said, "Okay, well, we think we got it." And I truly believe because I was in my kitchen in the middle of the pandemic and was so comfortable that I was
Yeah.
like, "Y'all don't got it. Y'all don't have it." I said, "Let's redo it.
Oh,
Do we
good
have
for
time?"
you.
And I would have never advocated for myself like that in the room. Not when
Really?
I know like, in those waiting rooms used to cause me so much anxiety, and I'd be stressed,
Yes.
and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Amber Riley's here. Oh my gosh, it's Alex Newell." All of my favorite people that I've, like, had on my vision board and just been
Right.
just so in awe of their gifts,
And they're
and
sitting in the waiting room with you. That's tough.
yeah, and I would be so scared and timid and, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna get this." But being just in my own kitchen, really helped me advocate for myself. I said, "Y'all don't got it. Let's try it again. I messed up those last 2 lines." And they said, "You know what? Let's do it again," which then led to a half-hour work session on the scene. And so,
Okay.
like, improvising and working and, like, it became, like, almost as though I was on set. And it just felt so great getting to work with Trent, O'Donnell, who is the main director for our show, and Joe Port and Joe Wiseman, our showrunners. And after that, I got cast in it. I found out on a Sunday. I
Oh,
was
wow.
living in Sherman Oaks, at the time, on the cusp, Sherman Nyes, I call it. And my manager came in with his mask on because we were still in the middle of COVID, and
Right.
threw up threw in the air a pair of champagne chocolates and was like, "You booked it." And I just broke down crying because I have been in this industry for 20 plus years, and this was my first series regular. And I'd been in LA since 2016, just hustling and hoping and dreaming and praying. And he has been with me along this journey. And so it was just a huge win for both of us. And not only is this one of the best shows on television, it's the greatest cast and crew I have ever worked with. We are like, going to work feels like being in summer camp. We are truly a family. We've learned each other's strengths, each other's weaknesses, and we always are just, I think the thing that even in like season 4, you would think that, okay, we'll just get the script and that's it. We're always trying to find nuances and trying to mine all of these scripts for all the gold that they can be. And everyone is still so collaborative. And so it is truly the biggest blessing of my life and career.
I just actually heard that from Connor Ratliff,
Yeah.
and he said, "You guys do a few pranks. Can you let me in on them?"
Listen, I'm not a part of the pranks, just FYI.
Asher's big on the pranks as
Yeah,
far as I could
Asher does
tell.
pranks, and Brandon has, like, I mean, he's in a whole different sketch show he does. Like, I think the behind the scenes should be either a podcast or another series on its own, because Brandon, who is an incredible comedian, who's also on the other two and so many other shows, he has these characters that he does on stage and that he'll just bring while we're just waiting. It's a 14-hour day of just filming. And so he has one character called Puppy Puppy Poo Poo, which is an imaginary pet. And this woman who doesn't allow you to touch the puppy puppy. If you get close, then puppy starts screaming at you. It's like we'll play a teleprompter game where he'll write just obscene things on this teleprompter, and we all are like pretending we're at the Golden Globes. I'm telling you, we are having a blast.
Oh my god.
Given
I can't love
no,
these stories enough. Sorry,
given
Robin, go ahead.
the fact that you had this amazing life-altering
Yeah.
audition experience, okay? And
Yeah.
and I am sure that each audition teaches you a little something different,
Yes.
you know? But this one, it feels like was the thing that was way different. It was you empowered yourself, you advocated for yourself, and you kind of did maybe what you always sort of hoped that somebody in the room would do for you,
Yeah.
or even, like as a casting director, what we'll do is, like because you've been a part of it, it's the whisper, whisper, come on,
Yes.
whisper. And so, do you think that going into any other experience now, it changes things because you're like, I know what I can do in like
Yeah.
playing the game, and I say the game, but like,
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is, and it's always been like this for me is, and I do believe that this is just either my natural personality or it is maybe my grandmother's spirit. Like when I walk into a room, the thing that I hear most is like, you have so much joy. Like I truly love life. I
I love
truly just
that.
I truly am loving the adventure that I'm on in this life. And I think when you enter the room in that space, rather than like the desperation of, I need this job immediately. And there have been times where life has been in dire straits where I'm like, if I don't get this job, I am not eating, or my rent is not going to be paid, or this hospital bill needs to be sorted. But I genuinely do have a curiosity about these characters and what the lines are and who they are. And I think when I get in the room, even if I don't like get the role, my job as an actor is just to book the room, because
yeah,
then those casting directors will call me back again and again, and one of
absolutely.
those things are gonna hit. It's
Mhm.
I remember when I did
Scream it to the people in the back row.
no,
I'm
it's
telling
true.
you,
It
it's the
really is. You just got to
truth.
come in with that kind of curiosity and imagination and not forgetting that childlike wonder when you're working on these sides. And yes, it can be daunting, especially when we had kind of pilot seasons, which are not what they used to be. And you would get like 25 pages that need to be done in
Different.
next
Yeah.
day and driving to Santa Monica and and doing all that stuff. But you can still have that childlike wonder. I
Yeah.
think it's so necessary to the craft. And yes, there are going to be times, obviously, that you're like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm just waiting for the job. But I hope that actors can continue to approach work like that, even with the state of the industry now.
Yeah. And I love that you approach it and talk about the grind and talk about the
Yeah,
fact that you enjoy the self-tape, that it
I
gives
love it.
you freedom that the room didn't give you. And
Yeah,
I think the actors need to hear that because self-tapes aren't going away.
yeah,
That's
they're
done.
not. And
Yeah.
like people are on vacation able to do self tapes. And I think the thing for me is I have anxiety. And so being in an audition waiting room, especially when I first got to LA, Chicago was a little different because Chicago's community is like,
Different.
we're all on the train, we're all going to the same job, we're on the green line or the red line. It's like, hey
Yeah.
girl, you going in for that thing too? So and it's just such a smaller regional community that we were all working with each other at Second City. We were all working with each other at the Goodman or Steppenwolf. And so these were like friends. But when I got to Los Angeles, I would be in audition with somebody who was a series regular on Living Single or someone who just ate a spoonful of cinnamon. And I'm like, where is the rhyme or reason in this waiting room? Because you go into, because both of these talents are valid. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Both of them got, got the audition. You know what I mean? They were worthy enough for this spot, And so for me, and I think for a lot of actors that go to graduate school or they go to these fine arts undergraduate program, the thought process is once I come out of school, I'm going to book
Hmm.
because
Right.
I've done 4 years of training.
Yeah.
I know everything I need to know about Chekhov and Shakespeare and Neil Labute.
Yeah.
you
That
know,
don't get you the job, does it?
Right? And that it doesn't that's not the thing that will get you the job. And
Yeah.
so what I hope for these fine arts programs is that they allow casting directors to come in to really school these kids on what the industry actually looks like without the protection of the university.
I mean, Robin does this. She
Yeah.
actually works at what's the college in New
I
York?
I actually am an adjunct professor at City College in Harlem.
Yeah.
So I teach a business of acting class, and every week it's a different thing that an actor has to face in the industry.
Love.
And I
Yeah.
bring in
So great.
friends of mine from, Rose has been a part of it,
Yeah.
Those are the
and
greatest students.
thank you. And I think that very similarly to your story, Danielle, where you are the first generation in your family here in the US, many of my students too are first generation American.
Yes.
and I get a lot from, from Jamaica, from Peru,
Yes.
from the Dominican Republic, et cetera, and it's the idea that the families don't necessarily understand the path that they're on, yet you have to say to the families, "I promise you, the journey is the same. It's not
Yeah.
easy, but think of it like a set of interviews always."
Yeah.
And, and like the interview will be eventually there'll be the interview that lands, and
Yes.
be great, and you really have to talk them through this. And, you sort of, it's interesting because they're my students. So
Yeah.
me, I also have to be like their hug at the end of the week.
Yes.
And so, which I pride myself on. But like when you say this, and I think about like when you were in Temple,
Yeah.
and you were playing August Wilson role number 542.
Yes.
And I also will say that I have to say to my students who, let's say, are more melanated, I have
Yeah.
to say to them always, please remember to break your glass ceiling. Please,
Yes.
please
Do it.
remember that you are August Wilson and you are Shakespeare.
Yes.
You are all of the things, and you're whatever your tone of skin is you,
Yeah.
and that's beautiful, and that's that's your unique, that's your every.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it
lovely.
is. And I would also say, when I was in undergrad, like I'm a Matilda for sure. Like I used to be in the library, I would be at drama bookshop, I would be at Lincoln Center Library. And I want students now to fall in love with research
Mhm.
because there are so many plays they can do and learn about and find monologues for showcases and things like that more than sometimes what the professor can give them. Like we're in a world where we have Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, you know what I mean? Like there's Ike Holter, like there are so many great uh playwrights that are out. David West Reed, who I think is one of the funniest people on the planet Earth. Like there are just so many opportunities to discover and
Yeah.
discover new works. And I remember in undergrad, the thing that would be so frustrating is we would do like, things for Kennedy Center, KCACTF, or, any of those programs. And all the girls would have the same like Ma Rainey monologue. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we were all doing the same kind of thing. And so I really wanted to mine and discover new works. And I just hope that I know that things have changed since the pandemic and those opportunities of, going to see plays aren't, we're still seeing plays, but it's not like what it used to be. But I hope that people will still do the research to find new works for themselves.
I
I mean,
think
that research shows in your work, Danielle.
Yeah.
It's clear that you move with with your own feelings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Robin?
I think that what I love, as I started researching a little bit more about you,
Yeah.
as opposed to like the snippets of work that I knew about you, and I think that what I love is the fact that you have this education behind you, and now that you've talked about it, it makes you a gazillion more special. and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
so it really is, because it shows how much right from the get-go you cared about what your journey is and was and what was going to be. And you were no mind reader, but you saw that if you researched enough, that research would get you someplace. And
Yeah.
I think that it's so special and important. And I love the fact that, and the interesting thing is, I think for that other generation of actors that are coming up, I do wish that people had the attention spans that we
Yes.
did, because
And yes.
because
Yes.
because
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
recall a Temple, you had a showcase, and now
Oh, yes.
everything is sent out, and you sort of hope, oh my God, will these students of the future be seen? And I think that for the moments, and you can tell me if this is correct or incorrect, but the moments that you wanted to be seen, you finally were seen. And then I always hope for these future generations that they are seen too, because
Yes.
attention spans are so different.
They
Well,
really are. And I think the reason that I got on the internet in the first place and to just showcase some of these characters that I had been doing for years at Second City or on stage.
Yeah.
First of all, as a writer, I was like, if some of these characters can go viral, I can use the internet as intellectual property. I can use my page to say, here are all of my characters, HBO. Let's create this show based off of this.
Yeah.
And because I would see that with Issa Rae when she, and also the girls from Broad City when they did it on YouTube. And so I'm like,
So
okay,
smart.
there could be a path of this on an Instagram or on a TikTok. And I know, like, when I talk to a lot of acting students, they're like, oh, well, we're scared to get on the internet. And I think people's perceptions of the internet is that it's all bad. And there is quite a bit of joy on there too. Obviously, there is some crazy stuff online. But I do believe that there is a path and a way forward because we are all scrolling. Casting directors are
So,
scrolling.
so you make great content.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. When did you first find out that you were good at this?
With my best friend. Her name is Lenisa Renee Frederick, and we had a page together called #booked. And so
Oh, cute.
essentially we would talk about all of the things that would happen with Black actors and actors of color in the entertainment industry. And we would do these little vignettes,
I love
15 seconds and under. And our first sketch were two Black women auditioning for the one Black Handmaid's Tale role. And it was just like these just little comedy sketches. And those started to go viral, and we started to get press opportunities, and we would get speaking engagements, and that is really what changed my life because even though I'd been on Young Sheldon for 4 years and had a career where I was working with Viola Davis and Ray Romano, it was the internet
Yeah.
where my manager would start to get calls, and I'm like, I have first class honors from the Royal Conservatoire of Birmingham in the UK, and like it's these little sketches that
That's
are
true.
getting the attention. And so I'm like, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. And I have to say that that young woman who was eating cinnamon in the audition with me many years prior, I'm like, she went viral for something.
There
She's here with me in the here too.
she's there.
If you can't beat them, why not join them? And we've had so much success with it. And then we also branched out individually, which have led to not only my series regular, but also my Lanisa has gotten so many commercials and
Oh, good.
TV shows and things like that. And so we became the phrase #booked, which is what we set out to do. And so it was so amazing to work on that project with her. And we still kind of work on it little by little, but we're both so busy.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So busy,
So
yeah.
you still have, I didn't even realize about that #booked Instagram. You still have that and you
We
still
still have it,
occasionally
yeah.
feed it?
And we'll post wins and successes. And when I won the NAACP Image Award this year, like we posted that, and Lanisa booked something really major, and we're posting that. We're about to post something else for her soon. And so it's been just such a great community. And anytime I go see a show, like when I go to New York and Broadway, people are like, you're the girl from #booked, girl. You got me through
Oh
the
my
pandemic.
God.
And those are the things that mean the most to me because I'm an actor's girl through and through. I've been in this industry for 20 plus years, and I would do shows at the Second City and off Broadway. I would get paid in pizza. I've been in all aspects of this industry. And so to hear that from fellow actors, it really does mean a lot to me.
Oh, I can't love that enough. I mean, your Instagram, it's so clever, so
Yeah.
wholesome. I could just sit there and watch it all day long, and I have. So
I love that.
do you do
Thank you.
everything yourself? Is that like
Oh,
all
there's no way.
you?
No, my husband is behind the scenes. He's holding that
Amazing.
camera. We edit together. Many moons ago, I was an acting coach, and so I would edit reels for a lot of my actors, and so I'm right there on iMovie editing all that stuff. And yes, and I have a team now. I have an assistant for the first time
Oh,
in my
good.
career. I have a graphic designer for the
Amazing.
first time, and so it's been really great getting some help because I'm like, I can't do it all
It's a
anymore.
journey.
It
It is
is.
a real serious journey.
Yeah, 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 for
Yeah,
sure.
and trying to get the right team
Yes.
to display your vision ain't easy.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure.
What do you think about the TikTokification of casting? Are we loving it? Are we over it?
Oh, are people casting on TikTok? What's going on there?
don't know. I think some do. I'm not one of them. But
You know,
I
it's
think
so funny because there was a oh, what's his name? It's either Jake Shane or Jack Shane. I can't remember what his name is, but he's one of my favorite TikTokers and creators on that app, and he's very, very, very funny. I just saw him recur on Hacks. And I
oh
was so
yeah,
proud of him because I know, if I'm not mistaken, before he was on the internet, he was a stand-up comedian. And so I'm like, I don't mind it. That's the thing. I think there's a big conversation between actors that went to graduate school and they're like, I did my showcase and I deserve to be seen. And then there's actors that didn't have the funds to go to school, but they use TikTok and content creation, and that's how they're getting their thing. For me, I'm like, we can all get these coins.
that's it. That's
There's
it.
enough coins for all of us.
There's no one direction. Not at all. Not at all. And how do you balance your actor time with your TikTok, Instagram
Yeah,
time?
for sure. I think just as an actor, we work on ghosts for 7 to 8 months out of the year,
That's
and
so
so when I'm on my hiatus, like that is when I will try my best to create content, but I don't force it. If something inspires me, if something moves me, I will create the thing. But if not, then I'm resting. I'm cooking in my kitchen. I'm literally 2 nights ago, I was watching King Lear.
I love that.
I I mean, like, that's literally and playing Scrabble with my husband, because I do believe that we do need to take breaks from social media.
We do.
We just absolutely, in order to just keep the imagination going, you know? And so, yeah, I do take big breaks, but whenever I feel inspired, I'll create.
Oh, I love that. Let's talk about the NAACP Image Award that,
Yeah.
I know you had a moment there. I watched that speech. I cried. Uh, my favorite quote that you said in your speech was, I don't want to get this wrong, swimming in a sea of no's and being told they care about diversity, but we are only there for decoration. Let's
Mhm.
discuss that line. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
I think there was a surge during the pandemic for Black stories and Black storytellings, and storytelling, and it was probably when George Floyd passed away.
Okay.
And then you started to see Black producers and execs and writers getting these major multi-million dollar deals at these networks like HBO and Fox and Warner Brothers and Disney, and not a lot of them were able to get all their creative juices out. They would have these projects and really, really solid pilots and TV shows and movies, but would be denied every single time. And I do believe that in the same way when George Floyd passed away, when everyone put their black squares up on Instagram, that the same thing was happening in the industry, but we were the black squares. You know, we were like, okay, we filled the quota. Now you got a job, you're on set, great, check. We check the diversity box. And now we see that even more true now with DEI initiatives falling at the wayside now and people losing all of their deals and opportunities. But with that said, I do believe that we are always going to create regardless. I can only speak as a black person, as a Caribbean person. Like, we are a resilient people. We are going to have our imagination to the end of our days, and we are going to continue to work. And so even with what's going on politically, I would just highly suggest us to continue to create regardless of if the no's are here. We need to make our own legacy and have these projects here for ourselves so we can feel nourished.
I love that. I mean, it's a journey.
It is. It really is. And it's not easy to create your own work. There's no rule book. There's no, and sometimes when you create it, it's not a success. It's a flop. But
No.
that's the whole part of learning. It really is. Like, how are we to learn if everything is a success? It's not, that doesn't work like that. So I just, I've always created my own work, even when I was younger, like having my one woman show, Body Courage, and doing that for years as a personal showcase to show the industry that I was more than just a plus size black woman who could be a maid or a slave, or, like I could do all of these different roles. And so that's always where I lead first, is just create for yourself and create your own legacy.
let's talk about your style because you're fully in your size fashion girly era.
Yes.
When did that moment hit you? Was it gradual? Is there, like what how did this come to you? I am a huge supporter of women of size, people of size, and I've talked a lot about it on my socials. So I want, and you're like, I mean, look at your handle, Body Courage. I mean, come on.
Yes, well, Body Courage is my first one-woman show. It was a production that I did where I interviewed 350 people worldwide about size inclusivity, how they felt about their bodies, and their body image, whether they were going through terminal illness or whether they were being bullied in high school or middle school or athletes. And I interviewed my entire family, and then I would perform as them on stage. And that was a 5-year project that I worked on, and it was mentored by Anna Devere Smith. And I think my personal sense of style definitely comes from, growing up in a fabulous all-female led home. Like my grandmother raised me, my mother raised me. My earliest memories of fashion are getting ready and going to church, and my mother being in like the most beautiful pale blue Annie Says suit, and my grandmother wearing her church hats. And I think as a plus size kid, didn't really get a lot of options to be stylish because there weren't those options as a child. And so I would shop at Burlington Coat Factory and be in also these three-piece suits as a 13-year-old, looking like Maxine Waters and,
Right.
Steve Harvey's love child. And so the first chance, the first chance that I got to, wear something that I wanted to wear and wasn't just styled by my mom or my grandmother, I really did make an effort to just try to, you know, just look good, honestly. And I think it does go hand
Oh,
in
you
hand as an
do.
actor as well too, because some of the fashion opportunities that I've had, whether it's working with stylists or styling myself, they've led to more press. And I do think that women like Danielle Brooks and Davine Joy Randolph, they do inspire me because I seeing those two plus size women during an Oscar campaign,
I mean,
we've
come on.
never seen anything like that
Wasn't
before.
that something?
We never see, and I'm like, these women are being styled by Louis Vuitton and
Yeah.
like all of these fashion houses that were only accessible to like La Roche and Zendaya, and
Oh
so
my God. Right?
those that was absolutely inspiring to me. And honestly, being the only plus size woman in my cast, like I have the most beautiful cast members, and I want to step out too. I want to look great
Right.
too. So I
You
think
do.
that's where my inspiration comes, and I've had the great honor of working with some incredible stylists like Zarina Akers and Fern Legato and so many others.
I love, love, love. And you do. You look fantastic.
Thank
And it's
you.
clearly, even though you have stylists, it's clearly your own style.
Yeah,
Now, question about that on Ghost, you're playing a character that has the same outfit on the whole time.
she does. Yeah.
So, so if you had a magic wand and you could redo her look, would you change it?
I wouldn't change a thing. I
Oh,
really
I
wouldn't.
love that.
I
Love it.
wouldn't change a thing. It is the best costume. I mean, all of our costumes, they have seasons where they do really well in. So winter time, fall is the best time for that crushed velvet. Summer outdoor shoots, it's a little tough, but we get
Eh,
through it.
I
But
understand
I
that.
think I look so beautiful, and it's so timely. I mean, she would have been a 1920s diva at the time, hanging around with Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey and all of the jazz icons. And I think playing Alberta Haynes has just her wardrobe, it really is a huge part of her character, because as much as she is fabulous, and this prohibition era goes from the 1920s, she also struggles with vulnerability as well too. And having that big cloak is always helpful for me as an actor, because why wouldn't she just have her arms out? There's a part of her that's like, I need to be covered up. I'm a little, I'm nervous at what other people think about me. And so I'm excited to get into the season where we now know that she has a love interest, which is played by Richie Moriarty, Pete, the guy who has an arrow through his neck, our
Right,
Boy Scout
right.
that we love, because I feel like she is now entering her soft girl era. She has expressed that she really likes Pete, is possibly in love with Pete as well too, and so I cannot wait to see the shenanigans that they have in store for them for this next season.
When
Oh, I
you
love
were
it.
first, when they were first talking to you about wardrobe for your character, was it a conversation or was it, or, because you sort of creatively you say, okay, I have my vision as the actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's
Well, remember, I was a replacement, and so they had another costume that was for someone else.
yeah.
And so they kind of just said, "What do you think about this? Do you like this? And how about a cloak?" And for me, I was so excited just to be there that I'm
Yeah.
like, "It all works." This all works for me. This is fabulous.
That's
The
right.
thing that I love the most is that she has these bangs. For her, she has this little bob, and I remember pitching season one. I was like, because we didn't know how she had died, and I'm like, is something behind the bangs? Is there something there, like, like a scar or something? And they're like, we don't know. But I think all of us, we look so beautiful, and our wardrobe team is just, I mean, they have to costume, thousands of years between
Yeah.
us, for all of the
Right.
ghosts, and the attention to detail and specificity. They work so hard, especially in our flashbacks. I
Mhm.
think those are the times as actors that we're so excited because we get to change out of the costume
Yes.
and really breathe when they were alive. We breathe life into their afterlife. So I love it. I really do.
I am loving. I love to hear you say that because the costumes are really something in that show. I
Yeah,
mean,
they really
it
are.
really sets the tone. Okay, y'all, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. It's our casting confidential feedback session where we invite actors to read a short scene and get real time feedback from our panelists. And sometimes our celebrity guests jump in with their thoughts too. So today we're so excited to welcome Darian Batista. He's coming in here in a second. Hang on. Promote to panelist. I think I did that. Okay, he's gonna come back in and he's gonna promote to panelists. I'm telling you, this is not an easy thing. All right, hey Darian.
Hey.
Hey Darian, hold on a
Hi.
second. Um, Tell me, so this is Darian snagged this spot by entering our Instagram raffle. So first of all,
Amazing.
we love a proactive king, don't we?
Hey.
Darian, welcome to the show. Give us a quick hello and tell us where you're zooming in from.
Well, hello. My name is Darian, Darian Batista, as you can see on my name tag right here. But I'm calling from South Florida, and I'm an actor, and I'm really excited to be here.
No, this is
I
great.
love it.
This is fun. Yeah. This is the greatest thing. All right, let's go. You guys just do your scene. We're just
Okay.
gonna watch.
All right. You seem very calm, considering what just happened.
Nothing happened. It was a simple misunderstanding.
Enough happened that you called me earlier in a panic. There was a patrol car in the driveway when I arrived.
Don't be dramatic, Ryan. You know who was driving it? Ben Soper, your old best friend from under eight soccer.
He wears a badge these days.
I can't think of poor Ben without picturing him crying by a goalpost.
This isn't funny. You chose to retire 2 hours from the city. So every time I come out here, I miss out on 2 hours with the girls.
Bring him along. God forbid they visit their grandmother.
What? Getting arrested in the front garden? What was Ben putting in the boot as I arrived? It looked like a coffee machine or something.
Oh, it was an essential oil extractor.
You got arrested for making essential oils.
Not arrested, cautioned. And I was making schnapps and whiskey.
You're making liquor.
Just for me. And I trade a few bottles with neighbors and friends. I'm on a pension.
You're a bootlegger. You're Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that show was too violent for me.
You complain that we don't visit enough, but this is the exact reason this selfishness that you think you're afforded at a certain age, it's embarrassing. It's not you being empowered. It's you telling us that we need to toe the line if we want a relationship with you. Or else you'll just cut us all loose.
Yes.
Yes.
Why not? I think I've earned that by now. 41 years I was married to your father. I watched him rise in his career, watched you all grow up and start families of your own. I kept the house tidy and worked when I had to. I hosted, supported, listened, smiled, held my tongue. I said goodbye to my friends and my children once my husband decided we should retire to the country. So now that he's gone, I've decided that it's my turn. I get to have the friends, make the plans, and be the one that others work around. You don't like me selling liquor? Then don't be a customer. Ooh, ooh, try the shots.
Amazing. Robin, some feedback.
All right. Yes. Congratulations. So, Mr. Darian, here's the deal. I think that whether you're in a Zoom situation like this or you're in person with somebody, I think it's important to know what the stakes are right from the get-go. I think that you have to remember that every audition scene that you have has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? The middle is your arc, okay? And so, but the end is your button. And the funny thing is that whether you're in a Zoom room again or in person, or it's a self tape, all eyes on you, right? And so the fact remains that you've got to make sure that for those end lines, you are still interacting, and I realize again, Zoom is a little hard and you kind of have to figure out the relationship physically, even though your scene partner is not with you, but be mindful of that. Be mindful of creating the world around you, okay? And so it would be that way if it was a self-tape, it would be that it's that way in a Zoom room. Be mindful of the environment that you are creating. Remember, it's an interesting thing because even in my in-person world, and I am in person a lot with auditions. I'm a New Yorker. We like the in-person. And so the thing is that I think that what I get a lot from people, no different from you, is the idea that you take those first two lines and you're like, "Hmm, maybe, maybe," and then you somehow come alive with it. I think you should come out of the gates with whatever his energy is, okay? You are that character. It is you. You know what I mean? It's not a maybe it's you and then it becomes you. It is a you. You have to embrace the character. So I think that those are my big notes, and I hope that that makes sense to you. And I think that you cannot be timid.
Love that. Danielle, a little feedback for Darian.
Yeah, really great job, Darian. Something that always helps me when I'm digging into a scene is just to improvise the either inner life or the moment before we get into it. And so I don't know if we're allowed to do it again,
Yeah.
but it would be good to see because I know for me that was an ice cold read.
I know, right?
It would be great to just kind of improvise a little bit beforehand and then we dig in just to see if there's any fun gems that pop up for you. But I thought you did a really great job and I think sometimes what happens is like when we get these big chunks of lines, these monologues, the actor wants to be like, this is my Denzel Washington moment. I'm going to give you everything, you know? And so what I would suggest anytime you get a big chunk of something, just try to find the nuance. Find, the little hidden things, like really approach it with your eyes wide open. And so I those are just my little tidbits, but I thought you did great. I really did. And I'd be curious to see what improvising beforehand does to the scene.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I love this. My notes are just the same as theirs, honestly. I don't know how much more I can add except for I love the authentic thing that Robin was talking about, and I love why don't you guys start with a little improv and then move into the scene, and let's see it again. I am
Sure.
mesmerized.
Let me know when you're ready.
All
There
right.
also,
Okay.
would it potentially be helpful to you? It may not be, but let me just throw this at you.
Yeah.
It's really, I know it's hard to act and sit. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
So maybe, because you do have a little bit of room in back of you, I see, you may want to start with how your character would move and then sit down in character so you have that confrontation with your mom. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rod, you want any of this cake?
No, I don't want cake, Mom.
It's your favorite. It's lemon.
I don't like lemon cake anymore, Mom. I told you
Oh
this.
my gosh, you do. Stop it. You just had some lemon cake a couple of weeks ago. What are you talking about?
Why are you acting like this?
It.
You're acting weird. Like like I didn't just see what just happened. You seem very calm considering what just happened.
Nothing happened. It was a simple misunderstanding.
Well, enough happened that you called me earlier in a panic. I just I saw a patrol car when I pulled in. What was that?
Okay, don't be dramatic, Ryan. You know who was driving it? Ben Soper, your old best friend from under eight soccer.
Yeah, I know. He wears a badge these days.
Oh, I can't think of poor Ben without picturing him crying by a goalpost.
This isn't funny. You decided to retire 2 hours from the city. So anytime really anything goes wrong, I miss out on a whole evening with the girls.
Well, bring him along. God forbid they visit their grandmother and
What, getting arrested in the front garden? Okay. What was Ben putting in the boot as I arrived? It looked like a coffee machine or something.
oh, it was an essential oil extractor.
You got arrested for making essential oils.
Not arrested, caution. And I was making schnapps and whiskey.
You're making liquor.
Yeah, just for me. And I trade a few bottles with neighbors and friends. You know, I'm on a pension.
You're a bootlegger? You're Breaking Bad. Is that what you're doing now?
Oh, no, no, no. That show is just way too violent for me.
You know, you complain that we don't visit enough, but this is the exact reason. This selfishness that you think you're afforded at a certain age, it's embarrassing. It's not you being empowered, it's you telling us that we need to toe the line if we want a relationship with you, or else you just want to cut us all loose.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, why not? I think I've earned that by now. 41 years I was married to your father. I watched him rise in his career, watched you all grow up and start families of your own. I kept the house tidy and worked when I had to. I hosted and supported and listened, smiled, held my tongue. I said goodbye to my friends and my children once my husband decided we should retire to the country. So now that he's gone, I've decided that it's my turn. I get to have the friends, babes. I make the plans and be the one that others work around. You don't like me selling liquor? Then don't be a customer. Ooh, you should try the schnapps.
Bravo. I do love that end scene you did there, Danielle. And Darian, you crushed it. I love seeing the difference. It was great. That's why we do this, so actors can get real insights directly from all of us. Danielle, you are a joy. Thank you for sharing your stories, your hilarious energy, your wisdom with us today. Everybody listening, you can follow Danielle on Instagram and TikTok at Body Courage and catch her on Ghosts on CBS and hashtag booked occasionally.
Hey!
Also get some great content over there. I'm gonna go
Oh,
look
yeah,
into that.
it's so fun. It really is. Thank
Yeah,
y'all so much for having me. I had a blast, and great job, Darren. Really, really great work.
Thank
I
you so
love
much.
it. Huge
Nice meeting
thanks
you.
to our co-host Robin Carus for hanging out with us today and for that fabulous feedback session. And hey, if you're an actor who wants to read on a future episode, follow Casting Confidential on Instagram. You never know when we'll post up another raffle. And if you love this conversation, as I know you have, because I have, please leave us a review and share it with your actor friends. It really helps new listeners find us. And thanks for tuning in to Casting Confidential. See you next time. That's a wrap on today's episode of Casting Confidential. If you're loving the show, here's what you need to do. Follow us right now on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling inspired, take a minute to leave us a rating and review. It's the best way to help us grow and keep bringing you these behind-the-scenes stories. Join the conversation with us on Instagram at Casting Confidential and drop us your thoughts or questions. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep your craft sharp and your audition sharper. See you back here for another episode of Casting Confidential.
One of the greatest podcasts in television and film with Rosen, CSA, and all the friends. Bringing you Casting Confidential. Casting, that's essential. Casting, so eventful. Time to tune in to close friends, chilling with Rose. We call it Casting Confidential. Get a notepad ready, grab a pen and pencil. For magic to jot down, tell a friend too. A wonderful podcast in TV and film, we call it Casting Confidential. Let's go.